Yo creo que han sido realmente unas ponencias maravillosas.
We had fantastic lectures, and that have given rise to a lot of curiosity among the participants, all those of you who are sitting here, and also those who follow in streaming this Congress. That can be followed from the web page very easily. And now we are going to give the floor to a few of the questions. Unfortunately, not all will be possible because it has really been incredible, the participation, the so big participation that we've had. There are several questions that do refer to what do we do with the young people. There is a lot of concern how to speak with the young ones. And one of the questions says, many say the same. Luis Alberto Iglesias is sending it. What do we do with young people who are bombarded by superficial culture of love, Netflix, music, media, gender ideology? The issue of ideology of gender has been brought about in many questions. All the speakers have alluded to the importance that we try to convey from their homes. That's the primary cell, this idea of love. But how can we fight against such an enormous and efficient impact in the social networks and the mass media? Any of the speakers can answer this question. In order to give the floor to some of those who have mentioned it, Joaquín de Irala has spoken about it. Yes, I had turned on the mic. We have telepathy communication. Well, it is. The question is absolutely essential, and the truth is that young people are surrounded by different messages that are not teaching them to love, and we have to invade the space with different messages, both in the school centers and among their families, and then at the university level as well. Hence, they will be more free because they will be able to choose. My experience in the classroom here in the university is extremely interesting because we have different students. There are students who are believers, who believe in God, and there are some that don't. This is a challenge when we have to speak about this issue in the same classroom. Sometimes you see odd faces that look at you, but the experience is that every year, suddenly, some students come to your office with the following question. Doctor, I come for you to help me to reconquer my virginity. This, for me, is incredible that a young person comes with this question. He's not a believer, but what has happened to him? He or she have heard certain explanations that have gone right to their heart. And as I'm a physician, I can't explain things with great philosophies, but I can say, well, this is the manifestation of the natural law. The heart of that young person has been designed so that that message is attractive for him. That's the natural law that is seen there. He doesn't know why, but he says, I want this for me. That's the natural law. It is being applied in this young person. And then, well, you coach him during this process. And I normally say that this is not measured as a weight. Sometimes when we work in this field, we can be discouraged, disappointed. Oh, how awful everything is. And I say, as the human being has eternal value, with one that you can coach in this manner, basically, you can retire because the effect that it has is eternal, never-ending. We don't have to measure it by weight. So I think that our role is extremely interesting and it's passionating. And for me, that a young person says that to me means that still the heart responds to the natural law and to its design. I write down the quote. I loved it, with one that we can help. We've already helped for the whole eternity, for all of us who dedicate to teaching. There is a very interesting issue because everything that we mention and say about natural awareness of fertility is in the midst of in the center of marriage. But one of the questions, what do we do? Carla Adriana says that. I don't know De Soto, and she asks, what do we do when we around meet couples that are in a crisis and in their surrounding friends, psychologists do recommend them to end this relationship? How can we explain to these persons? The question could be for Juan José, I think. Perezova. Well, I simply think there is a basic effective difference between an emotion and manage our emotions from what is, as we've said, the teaching about the link. The link and the bond is an effective term and not merely legal. The links or bonds, how do we have this bond or link, and how the bond has a promise, including the way in how we react. To try to break the bond as a solution is directly to create a greater difficulty. This is due to an effective ignorance of what is meant by to know how to bind people. It's not just the issue of teaching of the bond. It's not of a pure communication item. Effective communication is one of the basic elements, but at the same time, it means to what is a horizon that is more than a common project. I was in Madrid in the parish of La Concepción 17 years, and in that place there were 150 marriages per year, weddings per year. It's a very one that is in a church that is in the center, and the picture is very beautiful then. Well, and I did pre-marriage courses, and 150 marriages have gone through these courses, so that's quite a few. The fundamental issue is that what happened when they came. I told them that I was quoting the wedding of Cana. I think that we have to read very well the text, and it says there was a wedding of Cana. The mother of Jesus was invited. Jesus and his disciples were also invited to this wedding, and the text states is very clearly invited Maria, but Jesus with his disciples came, and the wine was missing. There was no wine. So it complicates our life. It means that you have made your plans, you have prepared the wedding, you have prepared the travel, you have prepared the houses, everything. Please, all forget about it. Life is much more complex than that. The life project, we don't have to say when am I going to have the children, what house will I have, because the life itself is going to break your projects. The fundamental issue is a horizon of common life that binds to destinies or to fates. The current difficulty with respect to the classical vision of effect is that people understood they had a destiny and they were looking for it. A current person tries to feel well and doesn't know where she goes. So the teaching that freedom is meaningful because there is a destination, a destiny, and a common destiny that means a bond is a necessary element that I believe can help. And how can we help? First, teaching that the bond exists, seeing how it is meaningful, and for then, from there on, see in what way to reconstitute a life. I think we can help with it. The experience of family orientation centers in the different parishes that I know, generally, when they resort adequately, in 80% of the cases, the life together goes on. So it is one of the elements, negative elements of the current intimacy, is not to let anybody help you. They love so much each other that that's enough. Thank you very much. We have one place for one last question for Professor Barbato. They ask us, I don't know, no, it's not, well, how can they help to discover the fullness of human love when we are facing somebody without faith? I'm going to have to ask Professor Barbato to speak with headlines, because then there can be then a minute of rest before the next session.
Sì. Io credo che tutti quelli che leggono la propria esperienza hanno la possibilità di scoprire dove il nostro cuore vuole andare.
All who have their experience can discover where our heart wants to go.
Sessuale. La voglia di stare insieme ci dice a tutti che io da solo non mi realizzo, ho bisogno di un altro per realizzarmi.
The sexual desire and the desire of being together tells us that we can't be realized on our own. We need somebody else to be able to do that.
Fede è l'umanità che si esprime.
Esto no necesita de ninguna.
This doesn't need any special faith. It's the same humanity, humanity itself that is being expressed. This was really a headline, Professor Barbate. Well, thank you very much. We have reached the end of this fantastic round table that has been much more than a round table. I think that we all have learned many things about what our speakers have expressed, and we take many things with us. Now we have a few minutes of rest before next session. Thank you very much to all of you, and a round of applause for the speakers.